Welcome everyone, Season 4 has arrived and today I'm going to be giving you guys some in-depth advanced Revenant tips to help you guys abuse Revenant's abilities. I've discovered some really awesome tips to help you be less predictable and also dodge bullets easier using this legend. Now if you do enjoy today's video, be sure to scroll down, drop a like for my first Season 4 video. I'd really appreciate the support. Be sure you're subscribing so you don't miss out on any more Season 4 videos, and make sure you're clicking the notification bell so you get notified of every new video. So we're going to do a quick run through on Revenant's abilities, as I'm sure some of you are unaware how they work. So his passive ability is called Stalker. It basically lets you crouch walk faster and also climb walls much higher than any other legend. His tactical ability is a device which you throw. It deals about 9 to 10 damage as far as I'm aware of, and it also stops enemies from using any of their abilities for 10 seconds. His ultimate ability is essentially this totem or device that you put on the ground, and it gives you a short period of time where if you do go down or you get killed, you will immediately spawn back where that totem was placed, and it basically gives you a second chance. If you do happen to go down within that period of time, then you will respawn with 1 HP. However, your body shield health will not be affected. So if you have 50 body shield health going into the gunfight, you get down, then you will respawn with that same 50 body shield health. So now all of Revenant's abilities are out of the way, let's start going into some tips. I'm going to start with the passive ability, and then going to move to the tactical ability, and then to the ultimate ability. So with Revenant's passive ability, it's probably the best passive ability a legend has in the game, and the first reason why is because you can crouch strafe so good using this legend. Crouching is actually faster than walking, which is absolutely crazy. I'm not sure if they're going to nerf it anytime soon, but if you try crouching with this legend, it's actually faster than walking. So when you are going into gunfights with enemies and you're hip firing, make sure you're crouching, as you will stray faster left to right than if you were standing up. If you guys are ever engaging at really close range, I always recommend hip firing because you can maintain your field of view and you can also strafe faster than aiming in. And doing it whilst crouching with this legend, enemies haven't been able to touch me and they've been able to land very little bullets on me. So this is a very awesome technique to use when you're engaging with enemies at very close range. Sometimes when we're trying to push enemies that are on buildings, we can only take the stairs or the zip lines that are built into that building to actually navigate to the top, but you can actually use this legend to climb without using the zip line, which can be fairly loud, or without taking the stairs. You can be very unpredictable, and a lot of buildings within this map allow Revenant to climb so high that you can get to very unpredictable places, and most of the time enemies are only focused on the stairs or the zip line, as that's the only place they think you can come from. But with this new legend, you can come from most other areas, so make sure you're looking around a building the next time you're pushing an enemy and see if there are any other routes you can take. So moving on to Revenant's tactical ability, the ability itself is actually quite self-explanatory and there's not much you can do with it. However, I do recommend using this device before you are about to push enemies. That way, when enemies are in a very vulnerable situation, they can't use Pathfinder's grapple, they can't use Wraith's void, so you are essentially forcing them into that gunfight as they have no other way out. And in regards to the damage side of things, you will most probably deal an extra 10 damage before pushing that gunfight, so that should also help you on your way to winning that gunfight. I recommend trying to use the tactical ability when enemies are grouped together, maybe in one building on the same floor. That is the best time to throw this to try and cause maximum impact to that whole team, but there is no better time to use this tactical device than before you're going to push a gunfight. Revenant's tactical ability has a 25-second cooldown time, so you can't just be using this thing for fun. I recommend saving it for a very good moment when a team are grouped together and you're about to push. And other than that, if you're on the receiving end, I recommend every time you're going into a gunfight, check if that team has Revenant, because this tactical can be absolutely game changing, and if you're on the receiving end, it can be very hard to do anything without your legend's abilities. So every time you're engaging with another team, check if they have Revenant, and if they do, alert your team that you could potentially have all your abilities disabled for 10 seconds and try and stay wary of that situation. If you're fighting against a team with Revenant, I'd recommend keeping your distance until you know Revenant has been downed and then going for the push. You want to get rid of Revenant as soon as possible because his tactical ability is probably has the biggest effect out of any other legend's tactical ability has, and it can be quite deadly. Although you can throw this device quite far, I wouldn't recommend trying to aim at enemies and throwing them at very long ranges, because by the time you've approached them enemies, the 10 seconds would have already been up, and it would have been a very big waste of a really good opportunity that you would have had if you would have waited. So moving on to Revenant's ultimate ability, this is a very crazy ability, and it could be a very big game changer if you use it correctly. So as I said earlier, you drop a totem into the map, and wherever you've placed that totem is where you will be respawning if you do go down or you get killed. So before actually pushing teams, you want to find a very discreet area to place this totem, as if you do have to respawn, you don't want to be visible to other enemies or to other teams, and you want to be able to heal before going back into that gunfight. On the bottom side of your screen, whilst your ultimate is activated, you'll see how much time you have left before your second life is no longer valid. So whilst you're in your ultimate, I would essentially recommend being as aggressive as you can, because the worst situation you can be in is that your ultimate runs out whilst you're in a very vulnerable situation. So as soon as you've activated it, be as aggressive as you could possibly be and try and deal as much damage as you can into the enemies. It is better to die and respawn back onto the map than to let time run out and you be ending up in a very vulnerable situation and possibly going down. So as I said, as soon as you've activated this thing, go as ultra aggressive as you possibly can. And this is so much fun to use as well, because I already like being an aggressive player, and the fact that I have this second life makes me be even more aggressive than I was previously. But a lot of mistakes I've been seeing people do, especially my teammates, is that they're taking too much time to challenge enemies, and by the time they've approached enemies and got into gunfights, the time has already run out and they will go down and they won't be respawning back onto the map. So when you're engaging with enemies during this ultimate phase, make sure you're going into a 50-50 gunfight, so either you are going to down the enemy or the enemy is going to down you, because if they down you, that's absolutely fine. You're going to respawn back onto the map, you're going to heal up, and you're going to try again. But if you let time run out, and as I said, the time does run out and you're in a vulnerable situation, there's not much else you can do. You're trying to find an area to place this totem. Try and place it completely away from where the gunfight is happening. So if you do respawn, enemies will have no idea where you've respawned. You don't want to place it anywhere near where the gunfight is happening, because there is a slight chance enemies will find where it is. So I hope you guys have learned from these tips and you'll be able to use Revenant more effectively in Apex Legends. Hope you guys are enjoying Season 4. As always, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you all for watching this Apex Legends video. Be sure you're liking, subscribing, all of that good stuff. It really helps the channel out, and I'll catch all of you guys out in another brand new Apex Legends video.